Thank you, Creative Mornings San Francisco. I'm originally from the Bay Area. I grew up all along the East Bay. I have memories of Bayfair Mall before it was an indoor mall, driving on East 14th Street, taking BART underneath the bay to my mom's office in the city. So the Bay Area really has a special place in my heart. Thank you also to ADP List. If you've not heard of it, please check it out. It is such an amazing community of designers supporting designers, and I'm honored to be a mentor with such a nurturing and supportive community. All right, today we're going to step into this month's theme, transit. And I'll tell you a little bit about my transit, my journey. I'll help you identify what your transit might look like. And I'll help you map out some definite steps to move forward. I will be asking for your participation in the Zoom chat. So go ahead and have that open and ready. And then also have some paper and something to write with. All right, going back to my childhood in the Bay Area, I'll tell you about a little bit about what I experienced and what I have overcome. Anybody raised by a single parent? Yeah, me too. Oops, where did my slideshow go? There it is. Pardon me. Okay. So this is me as a kid. On the left, I'm 5, and the one on the right, I'm 7 years old. So after I was about 4 years old, my dad really wasn't in the picture anymore. I also, which was probably just as well since he used heroin on a regular basis. I also had the challenge of having a convicted sociopath as an older brother, 10 years older than me. Stacking the deck even further against me, I was also sexually molested by several men while I was between the ages of 4 and 8. As a kid, I moved 12 times and ended up attending 10 different schools in 12 years. So I was always the new kid in school, sometimes twice in one school year. I was the tallest kid up until, and probably the nerdiest kid, I mean, let's be honest, until probably high school when the boys started to sprout. I had no social skills whatsoever. I had no friends until later in high school. I even attempted suicide and thankfully failed, obviously. So according to the test that measures childhood trauma, called the ACE test, Adverse Childhood Experience, any score above 4 is when things get serious. And I scored an 8. The life I was dealt set me up for a very high risk of having a very problematic adult life full of health issues and social issues, emotional problems. And because of my childhood, I understand fear intimately. I know how crippling it can be. I've experienced fight and flight and freeze, but thankfully, I've healed. I am not a victim. I'm a survivor. And I look back at everything that has helped shape me with gratitude. It's everything I've been through has made me who I am today. Now, I share these things with you today so that you know a little bit of what I've accomplished on a personal level. I have overcome so much. And if I can do it, so can you. My sincerest wish is that I help you get past some of your fears, some of your creative blocks, and move resolutely and firmly toward freedom and happiness. When I was a kid, I blossomed early. I think I was probably my height, 5'9", probably about the 3rd grade. I used to be afraid of standing out, so I never stood up straight. I kind of slumped over. I used to be afraid of kids around me noticing me because to be noticed was to be bullied. I also used to be afraid of showing vulnerability. And well, I'm kind of still working on that one. So I would love for you to share your fears with me in the chat using the language, I'm afraid that. I'm afraid that. What are you afraid of? What's weighing heaviest on you right now? And I think imposter syndrome is massive among creatives. Go ahead and read some of the things that are coming in the chat. They're beautiful. Won't be successful, that I'll be forgotten. I'm just standing still, afraid that I've peaked. Afraid I'm making a big mistake. Wonderful. Money fears. Big picture fears. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing these things. Wonderful. That's a big one. I'm not enough. You'd be amazed how often that comes up with creatives. Wonderful. Alone, afraid of failing. Beautiful. Thank you for being brave and sharing those. All right, now, if you could set those fears aside, just set them aside. You can always pick them up later should you need them, but you won't. If you could set those fears aside, just unplug them, what would you attempt? What would you attempt to do? So write in the chat, I would attempt what? If I wasn't afraid, what would you attempt? Champion more change, write a book, do a TED Talk, follow my passion, help more people, be more vulnerable. Yes. Get out of a bad situation, a bad relationship, start my own studio, try to make the world a better place, painting, speak my mind, express myself, or attempt to be me. Oh, that one's a big one. Beautiful. Beautiful. Be easier on myself. Oh, yes. Beautiful. All right. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you for being brave and sharing these things. All right, let's dig a little deeper now. Grab your pencil and paper, and I'm going to give you the beginning of a sentence. And I would like for you to finish this sentence, but I want you to finish it 3 different times. Okay? Write down the beginning of the sentence. The beginning of the sentence is, I'm going to write it in the chat. Now, I don't want you to think about it too much. My deepest desire is to become the kind of person who. Now, this can be anything. This is what you're writing down on the paper. You don't have to share this in the chat. We'll just leave that there. It can be anything like the kind of person who will create world peace, or the kind of person who makes a ton of money. There are absolutely no wrong answers here. Write fast, write the first 3 things that come to mind. I'll give you 2 minutes to finish this and go. I'm going to time you. My deepest desire is to become the kind of person who. Okay, you have about a minute left. You have about 10 seconds left. Okay, time. Your 2 minutes are up. All right, excellent. Excellent work. Now, I personally love the woo-woo stuff, but I am a total science nerd, so I love discovering why stuff works. What is the science behind some of this woo-woo stuff, and why does some of it work so well? So let's check in with your brain, okay? You think it's all about logic and facts and information, but your brain responds similarly to you imagining things as to the real thing. Not exactly, but very similarly. So I would like for you to take a few seconds, take about 5 seconds, and check in with your logic self and ask your brain, what does your brain want you to know about your deepest desires? What does your brain have to say about that? Now, from your brain's perspective, then how would you finish that same sentence? My deepest desire is to become the kind of person who, okay, we're going to do this exercise again. I'm going to time you 2 more minutes. 3 different ways from your brain's perspective. My deepest desire is to become the kind of person who. Just whatever comes up. There's no wrong answers. This is different from the first prompt in that you're focusing on logic and allowing your logic self to answer this question. Okay, you've got 45 seconds. Okay, and time. All right, your brain's desires are usually fueled by your current knowledge, and they're usually filtered by your inner critic. And among other things, your inner critic's job is to not only make sure you wear clothes outside when you leave the house, but to maintain the status quo. Just make sure things stay the same, okay? Your brain isn't the only information center that you have, though. So let's check in with another intuition and wisdom and information center, your heart. Now, there were studies started in 1991 showing that your heart has neurons. They're intrinsic cardiac neurons. They're very similar to your brain's neurons. And the entire field of neurocardiology is that new. And your heart communicates to your brain, but it's only about 20% of the signals are afferent. 80% are efferent, meaning they go from your heart to your brain. So each organ is continually influencing the other's function. So your heart can actually provide you with insight. Your communication between your heart and your brain is a dynamic and an ongoing dialogue. So what I want you to do now, we're going to finish that same sentence 3 more times, but I want you to take a few seconds to ask, what does your heart want you to know about your deepest desires? From your heart, how would you finish that same sentence? Write fast, 3 different endings. Allow whatever you feel to come. You have 2 minutes. The sentence you're finishing is, my deepest desire is to become the kind of person who. The first time we checked in with our brain, this time we're checking in with our heart. What does your heart want you to know? The very first time we did it was a general question. Second time was brain, this time's heart. You have about a minute left. If you notice a little bit of overlap, that's okay. If that's what your heart's telling you, that's okay. Got about 30 seconds. Okay, finish up. And time. Okay, great job. Take a deep breath. Oh. All right, finally, let's check in with another center of intuition and information and wisdom. Now, hidden within the walls of your gastrointestinal tract, you have a little brain called the enteric nervous system, or ENS. It is also capable of communication with your big brain, including influencing your moods. Gut neurobiology, or the gut-brain connection, is a fascinating rabbit hole. If you have time, Google it. Science is only beginning to understand the relationship between your gut and your brain. So take a few seconds now and check in with your gut. Okay, what does your gut want you to know about your deepest desires? From your gut, finish that sentence 3 more times, okay? Allow whatever you're feeling to come up. There's no wrong answers. You have 2 minutes. Have about a minute left. About 15 seconds. Okay, well done. Anybody have some surprising answers, some unexpected responses by listening to the different parts of your body? Now you can consider this list of 12 deepest desires as kind of your North Star. For example, if you're thinking about taking a new job, judge whether you need to take it by how well it aligns with your deepest desires. Does it get you a little closer? Then awesome. If it takes you away from what you desire most, think twice. All right, so how did that feel, getting those things actually written down? Would anybody like to share what the experience was like for them? Unmute yourself and jump in if you'd like to share it outside the chat room. Scary, uncomfortable, surprising but not surprising. My gut is panicking more than my heart. Yep. Yeah. I found that my thoughts were aligned across all organs. Good. Your brain feels like it's in charge. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So when you notice differences, it means that that each part of you wants something separate. You probably have your inner critic pulling you in one direction. You have your heart pulling you in another direction. Your gut is responsible for you, feeling safe. And when you're being pulled in three different directions, how can you possibly know what it is to do next, right? Now, if you saw that all 12 of yours were pretty in alignment and you had a little bit of overlap, it probably means that you're listening to all three centers of wisdom and intuition. And when all three of those are in alignment, you are an unstoppable force. So think about the last time you made a snap decision. It was easy because all three were in perfect alignment. Again, when those three things are wanting three different things, you're literally being pulled in three different directions by your own body. Now, did you notice some, when you look through them or when you wrote them, that some had some zing? They had a little bit more energy. They felt more powerful than the others. Which two of your 12 desires that you wrote down had the most zing? Excuse me. Circle those two. Your comments are wonderful. Yeah. By zing, I mean something that feels most important to you, something that, if you were to read it out loud, might bring a lump to your throat, something that feels, something that you feel most passionate about. Okay, circle those two things. All right. Would anybody like to unmute themselves and share their 12 deepest desires with the group? I know there are some familiar faces in here, so I know there are some brave people in this room. David, are you feeling brave?
I knew you were going to pick on me. Yeah, sure, I can share them. My
Now you
first,
can share all 12 or you can share just 2, your choice. How's that?
gotcha. Well, let me give a super quick overview real fast. It was
Okay.
interesting that um, my brain was saying, "Oh, I'd really like to relax a little." My heart was saying, you know, "Chill out. You've got this." And my gut was saying, "No, scared. Got to work harder, work faster, more."
Yeah.
So there's this real tug of war between the things that I'm feeling confident about, or wanting to relax about, and the things like, no, no, can't relax yet. Gotta keep
Mhm.
going.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that surprised me the most is I've got this little tug of war going on inside me.
Yeah. So, of your 12 deepest desires, which ones would you say are motivated by fear? And which
Hmm,
ones would you say are motivated by love?
that's a really good question because it's pretty much split 50-50.
Okay.
My big one was wanting to make a difference as a writer. Um, and my biggest fear was um, that I need to really step it up to do that. Um, with my brain and my heart kind of being in the middle somewhere, saying, "No, no, no, it's fine. It's good. It's good."
Okay. So, I think that's kind of the same goal, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So, goals that are based in love are far more powerful than
mm,
goals that are based in fear. So, of those 12, then circle 2 that are love based and you feel are the most important to you. Okay. Thank you for sharing, David. You're awesome. All right. Now for the fun part. If you look at those teeny tiny steps, or teeny tiny, if you look at those big goals, you can break those into teeny tiny steps, baby steps. So think about one thing that you could do this week that would inch the needle just a hair closer to that deepest desire. Okay. So, for example, David, you said you wanted to make a difference with your writing. What is something that you could do this week that would move that? And it's a teeny tiny baby step that you could do this week.
um, I could break up the work in progress into some smaller chapters, and
Yeah.
instead of trying to tackle the overall arc,
Yeah.
just go one step at a time.
So if you look at, say, your great big goals in life as a huge mountain range, and you've got your eye on the tallest peak, it's impossible to get from where you are to that top peak in one big leap. You've got to take small steps. You've got to encounter some valleys and encounter some peaks, some smaller peaks along the way. So by mapping out these baby steps, you can pivot much more easily. You can adapt, you can adjust, and your entire career is not made out of great big leaps, but very, very small baby steps. Okay. So I encourage you that every time you reach a peak of some kind, like for example, David, you break your big goal into the smaller steps. You've written one chapter. What do you do to celebrate that?
Mainly, I try to keep my eyes on the prize, and the pats on the back come from the work itself. When I love the quote. I forget who said it, but she said, "I hate writing. I love having written." And it's like
Mhm.
once I finish that chapter, that's kind of the pat on the back I needed already. So
Okay. If you're not stopping to celebrate each and every milestone, you're missing out on a whole lot of joy in your life.
mm,
So I invite you mentally, where you are now, Picture the mountain range in front of you and picture all the goals that you have. And I want you to turn around and look backwards. Look back at all the other things that you have accomplished. Look at everything you have overcome and celebrate the hell out of that. Think, man, look at how far you've come. That's freaking awesome. And then you get to the next little peak. Hot dog, I made it to the next peak. Yes. Celebrate the hell out of those things, because that kind of enthusiasm is sticky. It's contagious. You are that happy and you are that engaged in your present moment. Your present becomes sweeter. You attract people around you who have that same mentality, who have that same energy, who will cheer you on when you then reach those same goals. Heck yeah, celebrate the hell out of those things. All right, so after you've taken at least one baby step, what's another baby step that you could take? And if it's not writing, maybe it's personal growth. You know, I want to be more confident. Okay, what is one baby step that you could take to be more confident? You could practice some self-love.
Sure.
David, you had an idea?
It was more practical and prosaic, so not as good as that.
That's okay. So I feel like there's in the path to a fully abundant life, and this I get directly from my mentor, Peleg Top, there are 3 pieces. One is self-love, and that means when you're looking in the mirror and when you're talking to yourself, that self-talk in your head is loving and caring. You don't tell yourself, oh, you're such a dummy. God, I can't believe blah, blah, blah. You say, oops, that was a mistake. What did I learn? Okay, yeah, I won't do that again. It's when you look in the mirror, you don't look for flaws. You say, hot damn, I'm still here. I have a heartbeat. I can breathe. I can move. I can think. I'm present. All of those things. That's the self-love component. The second component is creativity. And that is the act of getting whatever is inside out without judgment, without labeling it, with having to just get into the weeds with it. And whether your creativity is running, writing, painting, doing photography, doing yoga, something that allows whatever's on the inside out. And there are some massive, massive healing that can take place. I know because I've been there. Creativity every day. The third pillar to a life of abundance is gratitude. And gratitude, like I said earlier, that I'm grateful for everything that I have done, everything that's happened to me, because it shaped me and it made me very, very strong and very, very resilient. I don't look back at my past with shame anymore. That was a big journey. But with pride, like I've looked behind me on that mountain range and said, hot damn, look how far I've come. Look at how much I have overcome and look at how much I've accomplished. I feel like I'm an emotionally healthy human being. I'm capable of nurturing and supporting other people in my coaching. I have something to share with the world and I'm so ready to share it. And all of us are in that same boat, right? Okay, so you've taken a baby step toward your big goal. What's another baby step? What's 2 more baby steps? And then 2 more, right? Anybody else like to share what their 2 big things are? What their 2 big goals are? Unmute yourself and jump in.
Hi guys, this is Nikhil here. Hi Cami,
Hi,
thank you
Nikhil.
for the session. So I'd like to just list out the 2.
Yes, please.
That's kind of like going across all organs. One is to find a way to add value to someone so that I could be remembered as the person who made a difference in their life. And the second one is to become financially independent. So that is the more fear motivated aspect, because
Yeah.
I'm a new immigrant to Canada, so I've already lost some amount of time that the locals would have in, earning and saving and all that. So for me, that is more of a fear that
Yeah.
I'm not going to find a job quick enough. I'm not going to be able to be independent quick enough. And that's going to set me back by many, many years should I have to go back home. So that is the fear motivated aspect of it. And the
Yeah.
first one is from the heart and
Yeah.
also from, the brain also, right?
Yeah. So
It's a
if you
good,
could turn that around, turn that fear around, how is it that you could view your financial situation from a base of love instead of a base of fear?
mm,
Not looking at it as what I lack, but what is it that I have already? Any ideas?
um, well, the exchange rate's kind of working against me, so I don't have an immediate answer for that. So,
Okay. So
but
again, that's fear talking.
right, but I am happy that I have managed to save all that money from the years that I've worked in India. So coming
Mhm.
here with the amount that I have after all the other expenses have been taken care of.
Yeah.
So the number that I'm looking at in the bank right now is it's a good place. It shows the kind
Good.
of hard work that I put in to save and to have that amount to begin with.
Sounds like you can put some pride in that. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
So again, instead of looking at what you don't have, assess and be grateful for what you do have and use that gratitude as your motivation moving forward.
right.
Gratitude is far more powerful than fear, far more motivating than fear, far more sustainable than fear.
And I would like to add just a quick point. I don't want to take
Yes,
everyone's time. The first baby step that I would probably take for the first point, which is to try to add value to other people's lives. I have been doing that without actually realizing that I've been doing it.
I know
So
you have.
yeah, so like for example, I was staying in an Airbnb for like two or for about a month before I moved into the place where I'm staying,
Mhm.
and I left a really good, positive yet honest review of the place where I stayed at, and I'm happy to say that my review has helped another family coming in from India who was moving to Canada. To use
Yay.
that place as a quarantine place and as a place to set camp for a month so that they can get their life in Canada started.
Oh, I'm so happy. Yay.
And the landlord, he wrote to me saying, thank you so much for you are like a model tenant, you are a wonderful
Oh,
person, and I would like to keep in touch with you. So I like to feel that I have done something positive in that aspect.
yes, absolutely. It sounds like you're spreading a good juju from India to Canada and beyond. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, part of the reason I didn't just implode from my childhood trauma is that I had a very solid, um, deep set of desires for your life. I knew, like, a big, juicy goals. I wanted to be loved. Um, I knew deep down I was deserving of love, of care, of happiness. If you're a human being and you have a heartbeat and can breathe and can think, you are also deserving of love and care and happiness. And sometimes we just need to be told that very bluntly. You deserve to fulfill your deepest desires. I ended up hiring coaches who then ended up being catalysts for my personal healing and growth. Something that wasn't even on my radar. I was a graphic designer. I've been a graphic designer almost 30 years. Whatever. Personal healing and growth, whatever. I'm fine. Show me the science. But they helped me see what it was that I really wanted and how I was getting in my own way and what I was really good at. Turns out, unsurprisingly, I guess, that helping creative people heal and then grow is my calling. And I've been doing it for years and now I just get paid for it. So I made the conscious decision to move through and past trauma, the transit of a lifetime, to become my best self. I would welcome any of you to join that journey. It's freaking amazing. Um, I am open to questions. Anything you wanna bring up that you think the whole room would love to hear as well. Oh, somebody asked, don't you get frustrated by how slow the healing process is, of course, but you can't rush it. It's like being angry at a paper cut for not healing fast enough. Healing takes the time it takes. Any other questions? You can put them in the chat. You can unmute yourself. I can't see everyone because there's so many people on the call, so just unmute yourself and jump in.
Hi, Cami. Paul McFarland here. What you're doing is really, really important. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. It's really important.
Thank
And
you.
most people are thinking, oh, I'm scared, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I lost my drive, I'm anxious. And the thing is, what you're talking about, these tools, it's not that you never get scared again. It's not that you never get down again or depressed again, but you know the way back.
Yeah.
You can find your way back. And that's why your basic things, gratitude, changes everything. The vibrational ascendancy up versus down.
Yeah.
It's really good. These are very basic, simple tools that anyone can apply. So I'm just underscoring what you said there. It's really good stuff.
Thank you, Paul. That means a lot to me. Anything else? Anybody else would like to have a question, have a chat? Jump in, mute yourself, unmute yourself.
I have a really cool story from Neil Gaiman about imposter syndrome that I came across recently.
Sure.
He was at a dinner for amazing people who've done amazing things, discoverers, inventors, artists. And he met this older gentleman who was saying, I don't know what I'm doing here. All these people have done all these amazing things and created all these amazing things. And Neil Gaiman looked at him and says, but Neil, you were the first man on the moon.
Oh, I remember reading that.
If Neil Armstrong has imposter syndrome,
Yes.
and I have imposter syndrome, maybe everyone has imposter syndrome.
Everyone does have imposter syndrome. There's always some moment in your life you're thinking, they're going to find out I'm just winging it. They're going to know. But you know what? Everyone's just winging it to some extent. And sometimes we have education and we lean on it. And sometimes we really are just winging it out, and it's amazing. And if you're winging it and you fall, that's okay too. You're human. It happens. You get to learn from it. You get to be human. You get to show, like me and sharing my vulnerability. I'm still working on that. I'm still healing. I don't like being vulnerable. It's part of my Enneagram 8-ness. That's my kryptonite. I'm like, be vulnerable. But everyone has the opportunity for growth. Everyone has the capacity for love. Everyone is deserving of love. And I want that for everyone. Anybody else want to jump in? Let's see, there's some questions in the chat. Sometimes intuition is better than education. Yes. You must have the opportunity to fail. Yep. I know this because I learned how to roller skate and it hurts. How do I know if I need more time to heal or if I'm just becoming lazy? Check in with your 3 centers of intuition because they're going to give you some guidance there. Sabotaging myself on a daily basis. Anybody else familiar with self-sabotage? There's a fantastic book by Julia Cameron called The Artist's Way, and she has some wonderful, wonderful advice for people who she calls it U-turns. When you set yourself up like you have an audition for a part in a movie, and somehow you run late enough that you miss it entirely, and that is self-sabotage. And that is part of your inner critic. You have your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and you have your anterior cingulate cortex, and they both say, nope, status quo, you're taking a risk, don't do it. But sometimes acknowledging it, like, yep, I'm afraid and I'm going to do it anyway. Because courage and bravery is not the lack of fear, it's being afraid and doing it anyway. Yeah. Sometimes lazy is just you need rest. Yes. How would you break down love who I am to baby steps? That's beautiful. A very first step is to get out a hand mirror that you can see your whole face in, and you maintain eye contact with yourself and you say, hello, beautiful creature. You are worthy of love and you are worthy of happiness. And you say that to yourself a few times, and if it makes you bawl, you're healing. If it makes you sob uncontrollably, you're healing. Yes, Julie Cameron, The Artist's Way, it's beautiful. Pulled in all directions, therefore stuck. Oh, and before I forget, everyone on this call I have made a special landing page for you. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Eligible for a free discovery call with me if you'd be interested in doing coaching. I'll stop the selling there. If you haven't checked out, if you're a creative, if you're a designer, UX, graphic designer, thereabouts, or you need a designer, UX, UI, graphic or otherwise, please check out adplist.org. They're phenomenal. It's amazing. If you want to be a mentor, if you need menteeing, I also mentor other mentors on that group. Yeah, it's wonderful group. And thank you to Creative Mornings. Thank you to all of you. I'm going to stick around until you're all gone. So if you have questions that you'd rather ask to just me, stick around.